The cost of groceries is way up, and the big grocery store chains are making record profits. Is it possible to save money on groceries? Can you stick it to the man? Well, I've got a first-time guest. Let's begin.
This is Debt Free in 30. Here's your host, Doug Hoyes.
Between September 2022 and January 2023, food inflation, as measured by the CPI, was over 10%. Peaking at 10.4% in January of 2023. By December 2023, it was down to 5%, so that's great, but 5% is still very high, and dropping from 10% to 5% doesn't mean the cost of goods are going down, it just means that they aren't going up as fast. And once they're high, they stay high, so that's a big problem for anyone who likes to eat food, which I do actually. And we all remember the news reports about the record high profits for the big grocery store chains. I didn't actually go and look at all their financial statements, so I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that everyone I talk to is mad about grocery prices. So what can you do about it? Is there a way to reduce your grocery bill and reduce the profits of the big grocery stores? Last month, I was talking to Sean, our producer of this podcast, and he was telling me about his strategies. And then I was talking to Janette, and she told me the same thing. So I thought, this is interesting. Let's talk about it. So I'm pleased to welcome Janette Martin to Debt Free in 30. Now, Janette, you've worked at Hoyes Michalos for 15 and a half years, and this is your first appearance on the podcast. So welcome. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Doug. Very well, thank you.
So every 15 and a half years, you have to come on the podcast. That's how it works. So now
Okay.
the story that both you and Sean told me was about price checking and price matching at the grocery store. And I, of course, said, well, that's a waste of time. And I'm thinking back 50 years ago, my mother, who had 4 kids, she had a grocery list that she put up on the wall in the kitchen. And I know you're all thinking, that couldn't have been 50 years ago. Yeah, no, it was. It was 50 years ago. She'd put the list up on the kitchen wall and write down what she needed. And then she would also clip out the coupons from the newspaper every week. And she had this file folder thing that was, I don't know, it wasn't really a wallet, but it was kind of like a mini file folder. And she would put all the coupons in there, and that's how she organized it. And then, of course, she'd go to the grocery store, and that's how she would buy the groceries. So here we are, 50 years later, no one gets the newspaper delivered. That's not a thing. We do everything online. And so I'm assuming there's no paper coupons. And so I'm thinking what my mother did 50 years ago is not applicable to the world today. But you disagree. You say, no, old man, you're way out of touch with how the world works today. So I would like you to explain what your strategy is. So tell me what you do, and then I will pick it apart. So go. Tell me about grocery shopping.
Sure. So you're right. Coupons are hard to find. You can sign up for certain groups, but then you need a printer. You got to print them. What I do is I price match.
And just before you get into this, because I'm thinking here, there's 2 things we got to tell people about you. Number one, I already mentioned you're a credit counselor here at Hoyes Michalos, so you're talking to our clients all the time about ways to save money. That's part of the process when you file a consumer proposal or a bankruptcy. We have 2 credit counseling sessions with you where we're helping give you tools to live a better financial advice in the future. But the second point is, you actually have kids. This is not some theoretical thing for you, right? Like you actually,
Correct.
You go to the grocery.
I'm a family of 4.
There you go.
So,
family of 4, and you got twins. I don't know why you did it that way, but again, it's not for me to tell you how to live your life. So okay, so this is not just a theoretical thing we're talking about. You're a family of 4. This is something you do in real life. Okay, so you were talking about price matching. So explain that. What is it? How does it work? Tell me the whole story.
Sure. So most supermarkets will price match their competitors. So we're talking about Superstore, No Frills, Freshco in particular. They will price match or meet their competitors' prices. So I downloaded the Flipp App, Flipp, and when you set it up onto your phone, you put your postal code in. So that way it brings the flyers to you every Thursday in your area.
So flyers are still a thing, but, and I mean, I still get them in the mail or however they get delivered to me, and I use them to start my fire in my fireplace. That's what I use them for. But all of the flyers are on the Flipp app. So number one, how much does a Flipp app cost?
No cost.
No cost. Okay. So you go free app. You go on your phone, you create an account and you tell it what your postal code is so it knows where you are.
Correct.
And so all the flyers are in there somehow magically.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday. Okay. And so I guess, what is it? Every Thursday, every Friday, like at some point in the week, you go and look at them.
That's right. So I do my major shop on Saturday. So Friday night, I typically will sit down and spend some time going through the Flipp app. So you can use the Flipp app in several ways. You can either just type in the name of the flyer you want to look at, and it will bring the flyer to you, and you can scroll through to see what's on sale. If there's an item that is of interest to you, you simply tap it. And then when you tap it, it puts a circle around it, it clips it, and it puts it into your shopping list. So the shopping list is a section of the app where you can look at all the items that you may be interested in price matching or buying that week.
Okay, so I want to buy chicken this week. So I go, and one method is to start with the flyer at the store I always go to because I'm going there anyways. So Superstore, No Frills, Fresco, whatever it is. And they've got chicken on this week. So I click the button, and so now it has added that to the shopping list. So exactly what my mother used to do with a piece of paper 50 years ago, but now it's on the magical internet phone. Okay, and so you go through the flyer and you click on a bunch of different things. So that's one way to do it, which is starting with the flyer. What's another way to do it?
The other way would be to use the search bar and type in chicken. So if you type in chicken, you can narrow your search down if you want thighs, breasts, whole chickens. But if you type in chicken, it will bring up all the flyers that have chicken in them this week.
Okay. So let's go back to last week or this week, whatever. And so you did this. You went on your phone. So do you start with the flyer or do you start with the chicken?
I start with the flyer.
Okay. And you start with whatever store it is you're going to be going to anyways.
So I do my big shop at the Superstore. They price match 10 competitors.
Okay.
So I could go through all of those 10 if I want to.
And I'm going to get you to explain what price matching means, but I want to understand the process. So, okay, so you start with the Superstore flyer, and you go through. And so last week, how many items would you have clicked on?
Last week was not Super Shop week for me, so I probably had about 10 or 15 items.
And what's the maximum you ever clicked on? Could be 20 or 30?
Maybe 20. Maybe
20. Okay. So you click on all these items. Then what? Then what happens?
So I go through the flyers first, and then I go through the search just for single items that I might want at home that I didn't see in the flyers. So maybe I want to buy oranges this week. I didn't really see them in a flyer. So then I would just search out by item.
Gotcha. So the Super Center flyer or Superstore, is it Superstore or Super Center? I got to make sure.
I think it's a.
We don't know. Okay, it's a super place.
Superstore.
And just so everyone's clear here, we're not getting paid by any of these places we've mentioned. We're not getting paid by the Flipp app. If they would like to sponsor the show, they can contact me and we can work out suitable arrangements. We're just trying to give information here. Okay, so I went through the super flyer and there were no oranges on it. So then I went back and I typed in oranges and I found out that there were oranges at some other place.
At Food Basic, 88 cents a pound.
88 cents a pound. So you click on the button, that's now on your list.
Correct.
So you go through all the flyers, go through all your stuff. Now you got a list of all the stuff you want to buy. Okay, then what happens next?
So then I go to the Superstore and I buy 6 oranges, and they're selling it for probably $2.49 a pound. And when I go to the cash, I show them the ad for Food Basic at 88 cents a pound, and they match that price.
Okay, so this is what I really want to talk about, because this just sounds crazy to me. So you've got a shopping cart full of stuff because you're buying for a family of 4.
Right.
And so you got some kind of system? Like, do you put some stuff first, and like, how does that all work?
Yeah. So when I'm shopping, anything that I'm paying regular price for, I put in the bottom of the cart, and anything that I'm going to price match, I put in the top of the cart.
So you know what and so then when you get to the conveyor belt there, you're
Yes.
putting the non-price match stuff first?
Yes, I put up all the regular priced items. I leave a little gap, and then anything that's left in my cart, I'm now price matching. So I'll put it up on the conveyor belt in the same order that the Flipp app has the products in. And that way I can stand right beside the cashier and I just scroll through my list and I shout out the price in the store and they override the prices, they match them.
Gotcha. So you just say to the cashier, okay, here's the deal. I got the price matching. I can show you the app on the phone. Most of the time, they're just trusting you to tell you what the numbers are. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, I shop there enough that I'm familiar with a lot of the cashiers, so you know which cashiers are a little bit more particular. They want you to click on the item, blow it up, so they can read it with and then you move on to the next one. Other ones are much faster. They trust you.
Okay, so I want you to give me the inside scoop here, and maybe this is sexist for me to ask you this, but what's the profile of the cashier that is most likely to say, yeah, fine, you just call out the numbers and I'll type them in, and what's the profile of the cashier who's going to be really, checking every item?
I would say the young teenage boy will probably trust me. The middle-aged woman with the glasses hanging around her neck, she wants to look at every single one.
Gotcha. Okay. And I think either the middle-aged woman is diligent or more likely the teenage boy is lazy. That would be my take on it.
Perhaps.
It's like, I don't care. I'm getting paid minimum wage for this job. I don't really want to be here. You call out the numbers. I don't care what they are. So, okay. So what you want to do is if you're shopping at the same store all the time, which pretty much everybody does, then you're going to know, okay, that's the cashier who makes it easy. That's where I'm going. That one, I'm avoiding them. Okay, so
all the time.
So it's pretty simple. And you're probably shopping at the same time every day, every week. So it's the same people on duty, whatever. So, okay, so you've gone through the app. You've sorted it out in your shopping cart. I put the regular price stuff first, and then I call out the other items. They punch them all in. You swipe your debit card. Boom, you're out of there. So in a typical week, and so my thought on all this is, what a waste of time. Okay. Like, number one, this is embarrassing. I would be embarrassed standing there at the cash register going, here's my thing. I want to pay less. Just like I would be embarrassed giving coupons because I don't know, I've got a big ego and I just, I'd be embarrassed, but I'd also feel bad that I'm holding up the line as I'm calling out all these numbers, because clearly that will slow it down for the person who's behind me. So this whole thing would be embarrassing for me. But the reason you don't care about being embarrassed. You're got a bigger, you're not as sensitive as me. You've got a better life experience, obviously. But you're also saving money. That's why you're doing this. So
absolutely.
Tell me about money. How much can you actually save each week?
Depending on the shop, I could save maybe as low as $20. I could save $50. If you're buying meat, you can have a large savings because, whole chickens this week were $1.99 a pound at Loblaws.
Well, yeah,
right? Which is half of the price. So
and don't get me started on chickens, because my wife's been talking to me about that this week. That you go to one store and it's like a gazillion dollars, and the other store it's like really low. And what's the deal here? So so she's always looking for the chicken sales and puts two of them in the freezer kind of a thing. Well, and your example about the oranges, they're $2.49 at one place and 88 cents a pound at another place. And how many pounds of oranges does one buy?
I would say, well, if you're buying those great big oranges, they've got to be 3 or 4 pounds.
So if I'm buying 4 pounds worth of oranges and I'm saving, $1.50 a pound, okay, just on oranges, I'm saving $2 or $3, and you add that up off of all the other things. Okay. So so I asked Sean about this, our podcast producer, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've been using the Flipp app since like a few months ago," and he says he can, quite often save $100 a week. He's also, family of 4 and teenagers and all that kind of thing. So I guess you're right. It depends on what you're buying and when you're buying it. Now, his strategy is a little different because he's like me. He's a male and we're all embarrassed and all this sort of thing. So what he does is there are 3 grocery stores kind of all in a row. So he'll look at the app and he'll go, okay, this store, here's what I'm buying at this store. Here's what I'm buying at the next store. Here's what I'm buying at the next store. And I said to him, well, that's not how Janette does it. Janette goes to one store and you are in effect getting the best prices at 10 different stores by going to one store.
Correct.
He says, well, number one, I don't like, having to sort things on the rack and everything. But the other thing he said is sometimes I'll go to a store and there will be something on sale that was not on the flyer. It's a special thing just at that store. Plus maybe the broccoli is cheaper at the other store, but it's, better quality here or whatever. So he likes to go to 2 or 3 different stores to, actually see. So he's still getting the best prices, but he's making an additional trip. You don't like that strategy just because it's time consuming?
Sure. Yep. Absolutely. If I can I do spread my shopping out, but I would say I probably do 80% of my shopping at the superstore.
Now, we had the food professor on the show back in 2023, and if I remember correctly, his advice was you want to be shopping at 3 different stores. So you got your main store that you're going to every week, the store that's close to you, whatever. And then you've got a store maybe that's a little more niche. Maybe it's got the ethnic foods and the spices that you can't get somewhere else or whatever. And often they'll have really good prices too, because they've got a, supply chain for those specific things. And then maybe you're also going to a big box store. You're going to Costco once a month or something because you can buy stuff in bulk and it's cheaper. Now, Costco is not part of the price matching. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what are your thoughts on Costco? Is it a good deal? Is it a great deal? Like what do I need to know about shopping at Costco?
So I do not have a Costco membership, but my sister does, and I do go with her occasionally. So there are some things I think that are a good deal, but you have to be really, really careful. We walk up and down the aisles and my sister will point to something and say, oh, look at that. That's a great deal. And then I stop and I pull out the Flipp app and I say, well, not really. Like somebody has this on sale and it's less than what this is. So I think Costco, you just really get sucked into the hype. Yeah. If you know your prices, for sure, you can find things on sale, but not everything at Costco is a deal.
And I've met your sister. She seems pretty smart. Seems to know what she's doing. Not as smart as you, of course. I'm not saying that. But you're illustrating an interesting point there. And because I would just assume, well, I know Costco's selling in bulk, so therefore it's cheaper. But no, there is. Tell me if this is true or not. There is no one store where everything is the cheapest.
I would agree with that.
So,
definitely not.
Because they're all playing the game, right? We're gonna get you in because oranges are only 88 cents a pound. That's right. And since I'm going there, leader, it's the lost leader, right? And then I'm going to buy the other stuff. So that's kind of interesting. So, okay, you got to know your prices, and using the Flipp app is a good way to do that because they're all there.
Right.
And how much of the savings comes from the price matching, and how much of the savings comes from actually planning this out in advance? Because you've actually got to go and think, okay, I want to buy chicken, I want to buy oranges. I would assume that if you're going to a store with no plan, it's like, hey, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Do you think there's a discipline imposed by it over and above what you're saving in prices?
So even if, you can only make a shopping list that covers your basic things that you want. So I'm no different than anybody else. I'm walking up and down the aisles and it's like, oh, you know what? Maybe I want to get that this week. It's an impulse buy. but I still pull out the Flipp app and I look to see, does someone else have it on sale?
So you're checking all the time, even when you're in the store.
All the time.
And even if you're going to Costco or somewhere else, it's like, well, you know what? Let me just see. Because if someone else has it on sale, well, then I can get the deal here. I've just saved myself some money. So, okay, so it's, I mean, you highly recommend that is what you're telling me. And what is the time commitment that you have to put into this as opposed to just showing up at the store and shopping? So when you're looking at the flyers on Friday night, how long does that take you?
I would say half an hour.
And so I guess there's a time cost of half an hour, but you're saving $50 to $100 a week. So $50 for half an hour's work sounds pretty good to me. And you're not going to all the different stores. How much pre-planning do you do for meals then? Like, do you know what you're going to be having next Tuesday, or is it more I get to the store and see what's good?
I'm get to the store, see what's good. I'm not a great pre-planner for meals. Like, some basic things I know, but a lot of times I'll just look to see. Just because something's on sale doesn't mean that it's going to be appealing when you get there.
Yeah, that might be why it's on sale. So, okay, so you're not, you look at the prices, but then you look at what's in the store and then you go back and look at the prices. So it's definitely an iterative process if that's a thing. Now, the Flipp app is something you have on your phone. They do have a website, I believe, but you don't use the website because, number one, you're used to the phone, and number two, when I'm in the store and I want a price check, I can't do it.
Right.
So the phone is the way to go. Okay, so that's very interesting then. So it enforces some discipline. You're saving money, and as a result, you're cutting into the grocery store's profit. So we're all happy about that. The practical planning point, though, is find the cashier who's going to be good. So you can't go through the self-serve checkout then.
No, most supermarkets have a sign posted right at the self-serve that there's no price matching there. I have a Freshco across the street. When they first opened, because it was the Sobeys that they converted, they would allow it. But now, when I was there the other day, there's a sign up saying, no, not anymore.
Yeah, you got to go. Because how can the computer at the self-serve checkout know what the price match is? Like that?
Well, they wouldn't. They need the girl or the person that's manning the station to come and override it. And obviously, it's just too time consuming for that person. I'm also going to point out on the Flipp, you can also build a watch list. So for your main staples, if every week you buy eggs, oranges, milk, bread, you can build your own watch list so that you don't actually have to type into the search bar every week, who has oranges? It's just pre-populated. So you can click on it and it goes right to the flyer search.
Yeah, because you're probably buying eggs every week, or you're buying bread every week, or you're like whatever it is. So you see it coming up all the time. Okay, so that's a good practical tip as well. And we talked about the money. We talked about the time. So you said, okay, maybe it takes me half an hour on a Friday night. How much time do you save by going to one store instead of three?
Well, I think you save hours.
Because I
would assume, unless you have all these stores within 5 minutes, but you still got to drive there, park, go in the store, look for the product, hope they have it if it was on sale.
And if the store doesn't have the product that you're trying to price match, I guess you're kind of out of luck then. If they happen to be sold out of, I don't know, whatever the thing is there such a thing as rain checks anymore?
I think you can still get rain checks at most stores.
But the stuff you're buying is the basics. It's generally there anyway, so it's not. And
you want to go back again to get the same product that was on sale.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I just go to the next store then and do it that way. So, okay. So the whole point here is I'm saving money and I'm saving time. And you're not at all worried about the embarrassment because no problem. I don't care. I'm saving money. Like wait for an extra 2 minutes behind me or whatever. I mean, it's not even that, right? Because there's 20 items maybe that you're price matching.
Yes.
And it's not every single thing that's in your cart. So, okay, here's the number, they punch it in. Here's the number, they punch it in. Here's the number. So they still had to punch something in or beep it anyways. So maybe you're in the checkout line for an extra 90 seconds or something like that. It's not.
Yeah, it definitely takes a few minutes longer, but surprisingly, the Superstore, that's one of their big draws now. I mean, you see commercials now saying that they will price match. So that's one of their big draws. So a lot of people there, I'm seeing more and more people actually price match there.
Yeah. So,
surprisingly.
Well, and I guess you're right. That's why I'm going there, because they do it. It gives them a competitive advantage. And I assume they lose some money because you price matched, but then, oh, wait a minute, I saw that thing that I didn't even think about. I'm going to buy that. I don't know that everybody who's going there is doing exactly what you're doing, which is I'm going to check the Flipp app while I'm in the store. So they probably do okay anyways. They've done the math and figured it out. Now, one more question I want to ask you about. What is Checkout 51?
So Checkout 51 is a rebate app. So every Thursday, they put out a list of products that if you buy that product, they will offer you a cash incentive, a rebate back. And when you hit $20, you can cash out and they will send you a check for whatever rebates you've accumulated.
So give me a tangible example of something that you bought that had a rebate and ended up saving you money.
One of the common things on there would be yogurt.
Yogurt, okay. And so I'm buying my thing of yogurt. I, of course, get the high protein kind without the sugar in it because I'm very healthy, as everyone knows. And so the thing of yogurt costs, I don't know how much, and how much would the rebate potentially be? Am I getting like 50 cents back, $1 back? Like what's possible?
So Activia, right? The tub is on Checkout 51 this week for $1.25 back.
$1.25 back. So I pay regular price for it, and they're going to add $1.25 to my account. Once I'm up over $20, I push the button, they'll send me a check.
You're right, but the difference being I wouldn't spend regular price for it. I wouldn't pay $4.99 for it. I would price match it. I'd get it for probably $2.99 or $2.49 on sale. And then I would upload my receipt and get the $1.25 back.
Okay. So you're double dipping. That's very good then.
Mm-hmm.
So the regular price is $5. I can find a place that's selling it for $3 when I price match, and I'm also going to get $1.25 back. So I'm
Correct.
paying much less than half price. So how then does the Checkout 51 thing work then? I've got to scan my receipt. How does that work?
Yep. You just click on the offer. It opens up your camera. You line up your receipt, and then you submit it.
You just click the button. And so do you have to take a picture of the whole receipt, which is 4 feet long, or you're just taking the picture of the item you're talking about?
No, it has to be the whole receipt. They need to see the store, the date, all of the information. But you can, if you have a really long receipt, you can upload your receipt in sections.
Or you just fold it or something, I guess. So here's the header and here's the thing or whatever. And so the last time you got a check from Checkout 51, how much was it for?
$325
$325. And that required essentially no extra work other than you're taking a picture and uploading it.
Correct.
And how long did it take from when you to get the check?
That was from when I hit the cash out button. It took almost a month, I think, till it got to me. And to accumulate $325 took several years. I'm not going to lie, it took a long time.
Several years, okay. And so you go on the app to see what the offers are. Or do you do your shopping and then when you get home, you see what's on the app and go, well, I already bought it anyways? Like, is it, which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
I would look at Checkout 51 first to see which yogurt is on there.
Mm-hmm. And then you would price match to find the best deal. So you're getting the best deal. So, and if there's something on Checkout 51, but you're paying full price, you may say, well, even with that discount, it's still not worth it. I'm going to get, instead of brand A, I'm going to get brand B because it's cheaper. Is that kind of the analysis there?
Absolutely. Yep.
So it sounds like maybe with Checkout 51, you're bringing in an extra 50, 60, 75 bucks a year, whatever, depending on how many offers are there. So, okay. So it is some effort, but it actually turns into real money.
Yeah, and if you have smaller children, like Pampers, they offer $4 back on Pamper diapers cruisers. So if you have small children, it wouldn't take very long to hit $20.
Because kids are pooping all the time. Those days are long behind both you and me, fortunately. But yeah, you're right. And I guess what we're trying to illustrate today is that there are ways to save money. And yes, it does take some effort, but you kind of should be having a plan anyways. And it doesn't sound like it's that onerous to go take a look. Okay, I've got my, predefined lists or predefined searches. I check out the different flyers and see what's there. Now, you said the Superstore is your main store that you go to because, they're obviously into price matching and all the rest of it. If you were to find that a lot of the prices were cheaper at a different store, would you switch and shop at that store first? Or would it be like, no, this is just as convenient, I'm sticking with the same store for reasons of convenience or whatever?
I've been price matching probably 10 years, and I have never come across that situation. No frills some weeks for sure. I could be price matching 6 of the items just from one store alone. But the good thing about Superstore is they price match Shoppers Drug Mart. Like none of the other stores would, but they're owned by the same company, so they price match that. So that's definitely a bonus when they price match Shoppers items.
So if I'm buying a bottle of Tylenol or something like that,
yeah, whatever, soap, anything, right? Shampoo, anything.
Gotcha. Yeah, and there's really only 3 different grocery stores, right? You got Loblaws, you got Sobeys. Those are the only 2 I could think of. Is there a third one?
Metro,
which is not owned by one of those other 2 guys. Whereas with Loblaws, they've got 47 different brands.
Yes.
Like you said, Shoppers Drug Marts is owned by them.
T&T, yeah. Fortino's.
Zehrs out in the Kitchener area and outside of Toronto. And then Sobeys obviously owns Farm Boy. So they've all got many different brands. So, but the price matching crosses over brands. It's not just like Loblaws brands in the different stores. There might be a better deal at a Sobeys store. You can still get that at the Loblaws store.
If it's a comparable or identical product.
Right. That's the whole key to it, obviously. If it's a box of cereal, well, okay, that's pretty identifiable. It's exactly the same thing. If it's something a little more nebulous, something they've made.
If it's their name brand, like, I can't remember, like President's Choice would be a Loblaws brand. You can't price match President's Choice at
Sobeys.
Freshco.
Right.
Right.
Because they don't sell it. So, okay. So I guess if you like a specific brand that's specific to a store, well, then I guess you're going to that store. But otherwise, it makes perfect sense. Okay, so that's very informative to me because clearly I am totally clueless. I'm still living in the world where my mother was keeping track of coupons. So that's great. Are there any other comments you'd like to make about any of this that we haven't talked about? We talked about price matching. We talked about the money and the time, the Flipp app, and so on. Any other practical advice you want to leave the listener with?
I think just, if you're going to start to price match, start slow. You just have to start with a few products till you are comfortable and then start adding to that. And then you can get up to the level where I'm at, where I can price match half my cart without a problem. Yeah.
And you've probably got the prices in your head. So, hey, that is a good deal. Whereas me, I'm going, okay, I don't know if that's a good deal or not. So I guess, like with everything else, practice makes perfect. So yep. Excellent. Janette, thank you very much. I think that's very informative, and we just saved people a ton of money. So that's certainly worth the price of subscription to this podcast, which I think is free. So that's Janette Martin, Credit Counsellor at Hoyes Michalos and Associates, who does a lot of work in the Toronto area. But because we're virtual now, you're meeting with clients all over the province. So Janette, thanks very much for being here.
Thank you.
So there you go. That's how you can save a lot of money on groceries and take a small bite out of the big grocery store profits and actually save yourself some time as well. A reminder that we have a new show every Saturday morning on video on YouTube, and the audio versions on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and every other podcasting app. So please like, subscribe, hit the notification button so you're notified of each new show. And if you use the Flipp app, leave a comment because I want to know if what Janette's telling us is actually true. How much do you save? I'm curious as to to what other people have seen. That is our show for today. Thanks for listening and watching. Until next week, I'm Doug Hoyes. That was Debt Free in 30.